Here we are. And boy, let me tell you, do I have, and oh, by the way, welcome to Live Talk with Becky Chernek. But boy, do I have an exciting show in store for you guys tonight. I have a featured guest speaker like no other. And this is probably one of my best. I got to tell you, I already know it. Max Muncey. And he's got some big shoes to fill with his position. He is the Director of Corporate Communications for the LaFontaine Automotive Group. And let me tell you, this is a big group. They're the 26th largest automotive group in the country. And if I'm not mistaken, the largest in Michigan. Is that right?
Yes, Becky, you are correct. I love it.
Yeah, I got my facts straight. Yay. Awesome. So I thought about this tonight. And what's really exciting for me is that, look, guys, I grew up in the car business. My father was a dealer. And, he started with Chesapeake Cadillac Company for many years, managing that store, and then went on to have his own dealership, a Cadillac and Pontiac store. And he never thought in a million years, I'm telling you right now, he never would thought in a million years that I would be in the car business, let alone think about this, that I've had the opportunity tonight to have Max on the show, the 26th largest automotive group in the country, on my podcast. How remarkable, how super cool is this? This is super amazing. So never say never. Never say never. Anything is certainly possible. So we're going to go ahead and get into the scoop. We're going to get into the inside, the secret sauce to their customer journey, the customer experience, and what makes the LaFontaine Automotive Group so successful. We're going to also talk about employee retention. And the LaFontaine Automotive Group was also recognized as the largest or the best automotive group in the by Automotive News. And I got to tell you, we're going to talk about why that is, what it was that has been an internal practices, culture, values that it contributed to that recognition. So Max is going to go ahead and fill us in on all that. But before we get started, for those that are new to this channel, I'm Becky Chernek, and I'm the host. And I've been in the automotive industry for well over 30 years. I founded my own F&I consulting company in 2001. And I've worked, I got to tell you, with some of the best in the industry. And this group is something else. I'm going to tell you that right now. And wait till you hear what they do and how they do it. And so I work with all touch points of the front end dealership operation, from the time the customer touches down on the dealership website, working with BDC, working with our sales folks, presentation, because that's where it all starts, right? That's the front end operation. And then working at the desk, because we know how critical that desk is. It is the hub of all. It aligns with what goes on in sales. It aligns with what goes on in F&I, and can make or break what goes on in F&I, frankly. And so I also make it a point to work with F&I to wrap up the deal to maximize those profitability in that department. Okay, so we are So what I wanted to point out as well is I do have my link to my website for those that want to check it out in the post. And feel free to call me. I'm happy to take your call at any time. But we are going live. We're going live on YouTube, as well as Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. And if you love what we're talking about, I know you will, please make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Here we are, Max, to get things started for our dealers and viewers. If you wouldn't mind, please share your brief background with us.
No, Becky, I appreciate the introduction so much. And as fortunate as you said you are, I would echo that. And I'm very fortunate not only to be here tonight with you and all your listeners to tune in, but to talk about an organization and a family that I'm so extremely passionate about. First and foremost, I am a car nut. Anything with four wheels and a motor, I can get so excited about it. I owe a lot of that passion to my dad, who worked at General Motors for 44 years. But my background is all in PR and communications. So I've been in the automotive space now for nearly 20 years. Um, and always automotive focused. Joined the LaFontaine Automotive Group now 6 years ago after spending about 5 years with the Detroit Auto Dealers Association, which puts on the North American International Auto Show, or Detroit Auto Show, which is when I had my opportunity to meet Ryan LaFontaine, our CEO, who was chairman of the auto show in 2018. And after his chairmanship ended, small story, we were over at the Geneva Motor Show, which was one of my favorite motor shows in the world. And he looked across the table and he said, "Just so you know, you're joining my family now." And I was like,
Oh.
"What's happening?" Because I really loved the time at the DADA and the auto show. And I said, "Ryan, I don't think you need a PR guy." And he said, "I don't need a PR guy. I need you." And it's been an amazing journey since then. When I joined, we had 17 stores. Currently, as we sit tonight, have 43 dealerships, so more than double the size of the organization, and have been part of a lot of the stuff through our growth and our culture, and looking so forward to talking about that tonight with you.
Well, I'm telling you right now, you guys are super cool. So, and again, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with me tonight and us, and talking through this customer experience, employee retention. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this loyalty loop. How do you ensure your employees, especially on the front lines, are consistently delivering the type of experience that keeps customers coming? And the reason why I'm asking this is because our dealers today really putting that process, implementing that process to ensure that their customers are coming back.
So I'll
Based
tell
on
you,
customer
our
experience.
CEO says it really simply, and then I'll unpack that. He says we need to every day inspect what we expect. And it's a great statement. And what we do is it's down to listening to the phone calls. My managers listen to the phone calls, but the variable team is tasked with listening to service phone calls. The service manager is tasked with listening to some of the variable phone calls, because at the end of the day, all the teams need to be working together. Everybody needs to understand not only the front end and the back end. And yes, we have an amazing suite of tools. We have a retail development team that works with us, that literally their job is to be in the stores every single day. We're looking at open percentages, lead count, appointment set, reading the emails guests or our employees are sending out, right? Really looking to make sure they're elevating that guest experience. And it's not a do it and then walk away from it. It's an everyday task, down to listening to the phone calls. Like I said, how important are we talking to our customer? Are we articulating the right message? Are we talking about the value adds that we at LaFontaine Automotive Group offer to somebody? Because at the end of the day, right, and I spend a lot of time, I don't have an office. It's four wheels in a briefcase, driving
You
between all of our
mentioned that.
stores. I love it though. I pass a lot of other dealerships out on the road. Probably some really, really good dealers. I know some of them. They're good. What differentiates us at the end of the day from
That's right.
all of our competition? And it's not price. It is not price at the end of the day. There's a value that we can offer in the experience and getting you through the process, but most importantly, the after sale follow up after the transaction to keep you part of the family moving forward. So it's a daily commitment. Our CEO listens to phone calls. When we do our monthly ops reviews at our stores, we're pulling up random phone calls. Let's listen to them. Do we love it? Awesome. Let's go out. Great job, Becky. Great job, Steve. Awesome. Play them in the sales meeting, or we use them as coaching moments. The industry is so dynamic right now, especially, and not to go down talking about tariffs right now by any means, but there's a lot of questions, right?
Yeah.
People are calling and asking questions. It's not, I want to buy a car or tell me about the features. They're asking, is that vehicle impacted by tariffs? How are these costs going to come up? That's a lot to put on a salesperson. They may know all the product all day, but now we're talking about global economics, the global automotive industry. So we put together some talking points. We rehearsed the talking points. We don't need to be an expert on tariffs, but I need to be able to answer enough of the guest
No.
question to let them know that we care.
I heard that. I read that a couple posts on, talking points on the tariff and why it's important, that we or dealers are talking about that firsthand to be able to get into that conversation sooner rather than later. The other question I want to ask you is about when you're doing some, I guess, when you're identifying any kind of missed opportunities via phone conversations, et cetera, are you doing that through AI? How is that being done right now for
Oh,
your group?
so I use only AI tool we use right now is a great company called Stella AI, and they're like my
Stella.
virtual receptionist. Stella's a phenomenal company. We've been an early adopter with Stella. We're actually one of their technology partners, so testing some of that product. But it's
Mhm.
my retail development team. So I have an amazing group of they're corporate trainers, but we call them retail development managers. They're in the stores every single day, and they're the ones that are identifying that. The goals of the general manager, the manager, the variable managers, which I'll talk through really quickly on that because I keep saying variable managers. We don't at LaFontaine have new car, used car, and F&I managers. We do by what they do every day, but they're all variable managers. My F&I manager should be able to go sit at the desk and pencil a deal and go up a customer at the door. My new car sales manager should be able to go sit in the box and talk about product and get the customer protected after the sale. My used car manager should be able to talk to a new car customer. And I know that that seems like a crazy concept that we probably can talk more about, but it's their job to listen to the calls every day. If they want a high performing store that's delivering the results and the experience we expect, they need to be expecting it. And then if they need help, we have a corporate training team. We can send you back for in-house training. We do all of our training in-house. We have actually a deployment center, we call it, huge conference room with a BDC attached to it. And we can go, hey, Becky, it's been 90 days. We've talked a lot about lead follow-up. You're going to come to 3 days of training. You're going to come sit every day and we're going to talk through real life scenarios about how we can make you a better person and help you grow your career, which ultimately benefits our company as well.
So, I like this. I like this conversation, Max, because I
Yeah.
really appreciate the fact that that you have that approach that if you're going to manage, you're going to manage in all seats. You're managing in all seats. You're going to be on the front. You're going to be able to introduce yourself to a customer. You're going to get involved during the sales cycle, doing sales presentation. You're going to get involved when it comes to phone conversation and how to manage the leads. You're going to know and understand how that F&I office works and be
Well,
able to manage that appropriately. If I can tell you how often deals are making their way into an F&I office sloppy, there is no accountability. Deals get in there, and for the life of me, with no checklist, without having ID verifications, insurance verifications, driver's license expired, you name it, and that's allowed to happen. I'm like, what are we doing here? I think that just in of itself couldn't be helped to create a much more streamlined
Well,
experience
Becky, I'd add to
and
that. I'd
customer
add to
experience.
that really quick is that if you're just the F&I manager and all day to your comment, we're getting sloppy paperwork coming in. I get it. We need to clean it up, but maybe you need to go sit at the desk for a day and actually see the pressure that the desk is under right now. That guest wants to get out the door. They're going fast. They want to move. We're trying to keep pace with them. So go sit at the tower.
I
And
like
then
that
maybe you
too.
go, we'll get a little better understanding. Again, not making up and saying we need to skip steps, but just put yourself in that seat for the day
That's right.
so you understand what that team is going through, and then maybe work with them on improvements versus
Love
just
it.
finding faults in them. Let's find solutions together.
Amen. One thing that over my career was, Ev and I, we're going to sit up at the desk. I want to get involved sooner rather than later. Let me get involved. Let me just be a part of it sooner rather than later. Let me help. Let me support the deal. Let me help you to figure things out. And I think two heads, and I've always said this, two heads are always better than one. It takes two to tango, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I love that idea. I love the synergy of that. I think, we don't want to have any silos, right? Pointing in one direction versus another. What's it going to take to manage a deal and maximize its opportunity, plus at the same time, create the best customer experience?
Well, and Becky, would love to address something really quick. So obviously we've grown really fast.
Yeah.
The only way we can grow though is with talent. I can't go buy a new dealership and then expect it to operate to our standards without bringing some of my own team along on that journey. So I need a well-rounded variable team just as much as I need a well-rounded service team as well too. So when we go to a new dealership, maybe the shortcoming is in the F&I office. Great. Well, now I have a whole crop of variable managers that maybe want to grow with the dealership, grow with the store, or take on a new challenge. But I'm not, to your point, siloed to one department. I can go look to all of my variable managers and see maybe who the best fit would be for this particular location. Again, with 43 stores, they're not all in big complex motor malls. I have some small stores too, in small, beautiful little communities. And I have some big stores in big metropolitan communities. Maybe somebody's a better fit at one of those stores, but having a well-rounded variable team gives us the talent pool and the on-deck circle, as we call it, to be able to grow.
Okay, so let me ask you this: knowing other dealers, and you're meeting them all the time, whether it be at a 20 group, NADA 20 group, NCM, whatever. What do you think that most of these dealers are overlooking when it comes to really building this long-term customer loyalty? What
I
should
would
they
say
be
if
doing?
I would say if you have a customer loyalty problem, you have an employee retention problem because you need dedicated, long-term, loyal employees to retain your customers. Because if Max Muncey has built up an awesome book of business and I leave to go to another dealership group, I probably am going to guess 50% of those, at least if I'm in the same local market, are going to follow me because they've trusted me during their last previous car buying journey. So if you have a retention problem on the customer side, I would say look internal first on how your employee retention and your employee engagement and the health of your employees is doing before you go out there and buy a tool, spend more marketing dollars to drive leads to your dealership, because those leads are just getting wasted at the end of the day because you have a non-committed, unloyal, untrained, unmotivated team responding to the leads. That's not going to cultivate future business for you. You know, I look on my Cadillac sales floor. I have a sales individual, Harvey Hortek. He's 92 years old, Becky. He's 92. He's 92. He is now literally selling customers' great grandkids' cars.
I love it.
Do you think they're
I
not
was
loyal to
looking
him?
today for whatever reason. I just wanted to know how many folks are there in the United States that is over 100 years old.
Yeah,
I
great
mean, there's
question.
quite. It's growing. It's growing. It's what's so.
92, and my man Harvey shows up every day in a full suit on that Cadillac sales floor. And yes, Harvey may not be the most versed in all of the tools and goobagoo chats and digital retailing. That's fine because Harvey's customers want to come in and have a cup of coffee and sit in our beautiful lounge and talk to Harvey. And then, yes, they're going to go through the process, but they leave in their new car. So, and Harvey's been with us for literally over 30 years. I have employees across the group that have been with us for decades. I have general managers that started out as porters. So I'm not trying to not answer your question on customer retention, but I so full-heartedly feel that to retain customers, you need the dedicated employees as that part. And
No, I
yes, it's
do.
the small touch stuff too. It's taking care of the customer. It's looking at the long-term vision, right? During COVID, a lot of dealers, not right or wrong, I'm not in their CFO office or with their corporate controllers, but they raised prices. Fine. Inventory was low. Prices went up. I get it. But if I want to retain that customer for the next purchase and the purchase after, maybe I should offer them the same deal right now if I'm able. And again, we utilize a lot of our scale at the group. Right now, I have over 11,000 cars sitting across our dealership. So I have the inventory levels to be able to ride out some storms within the industry, tariffs notwithstanding right now, right? but it's looking at the how do I make that guest feel at the end of the day? And a lot of it is follow-up. Our DMS and our CRM tools are giving us reminders to follow up with the guest, but it can just be a follow-up based on our notes of, Becky, I know every fall you go on that family vacation. How did that new Suburban treat you guys this year? That's all you're asking. Not, did you come in for service? Can I sell you a car? Just checking in with the guests, the little follow-up. We do white glove pickup and delivery for all service, for oil changes. My Cadillac store will drive 2 hours to a guest's house to pick their car up for an oil change and then bring it back to them. I'll promise you right now, I don't sit in service. We lose money on that oil change. I guarantee you we do. By the time I paid the driver, gassed the loaner car, brought the loaner car out 2 hours, came back, but that guest isn't going anywhere else. And also probably by that time that new loaner car is sitting in their driveway, they've had a neighbor or a friend say, did you get a new car? Oh no, LaFontaine just dropped us off. I'm getting an oil change right now.
So do you think, now this is your culture. This is who you are. This is who LaFontaine Automotive Group is. They are very responsive to their customers and their needs. And
Yep.
is this missing in the car business? Here's what I'm saying. Growing up in the car business, I've worked with a lot of talented auto dealers. I really have along the way. But during COVID, a lot of things just went by the wayside. None of it mattered. It was like, we're selling cars. We don't have to care. We don't really
Yeah.
need customer experience. This is our car. If you're going to buy it, great. If not, see you
Yeah, it
later.
was shooting fish in a barrel, for a lack of a better term. It was just shooting fish in a barrel.
And folks forgot about treating that customer and the benefit behind that, the ultimate customer experience, that making that person feel special.
Well, Becky, I'll tell you that anybody that we hired on during COVID on the sales floor, they went back to retraining after we got through COVID.
Okay.
Because their 1 year or 2 years on the job was not how this industry operates. People are not turning in a lease vehicle and getting a $9,000 equity check after they turn their lease in, right? There's not limited supply where, hey, Becky, if you don't want to talk, that's fine. I've got 5 other people that want the same Yukon XL or the same Lincoln behind me. We're good. I'm fine. That taking care of the customer and being part of their journey was lost on them. No discredit to them. They're amazing people. But we went back to retraining after COVID because we identified very early on that as the industry shifted, they weren't keeping up with the transition with the industry because they only knew one way, which was polar opposite of how this industry ever operated. And so we went back to retraining. Let's get refocused. It's talking about mining for guests. Let's talk about cold calling. Let's go down to the service lane and talk about acquiring vehicles in the service lane. Let's get back to the basics, which seems so funny to say in such an overused term, but we really had to get back to the basics after COVID because the whole world changed in the automotive industry. Some people just did not adapt fast enough. We did one of our largest acquisitions during the 2 years of COVID. I think we added 9 stores during COVID, all from dealers that basically said, I'm good. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to know what the future looks like. We're out. And we grew a lot. Our CEO says a lot, Ryan LaFontaine. Sometimes the best form of defense is offense. And during really hard times, we've gone on and played offense during those times.
Well, I hear about that, and I hear that that's probably the best way to go, right? Especially when you talk about the stock market. Hey, when it goes down, that's when you buy. So here's the thing. I've got some comments. I want to go ahead, if you don't mind.
Awesome.
Like to
I
share
love
some
it.
comments with you. Okay. And you want to talk about someone who is like the savant in F&I, if you can even get him. Now, he's also an actor. I just got to tell you, it's the craziest thing. Andrew Pearson, thank you so much for saying hi. Glad you're on the show. This guy is a savant when it comes to F&I, does it the right way. He also is an actor and he loves every bit of it. I got to tell you, it's just the craziest thing. Corey Cox, thank you so much. Sounds like a thoughtful, progressive organization any auto pro would benefit working for. I'm not messing with you. I'm in the auto show. I'm looking at cars, and I got to meet an intern from the Northwood University that had
We
a
love Northwood.
they
We're
freaking
bringing on
love you.
27 interns from Northwood this year. Yeah, we love Northwood.
You can't, this guy, I got on tape. I got video and talk about my age. But he like loved the experience. He goes, Becky, these people rock. They were fun. Like, do you
Love
mind
it.
me videotaping that? And it was like, he really got a lot out of it. But you know what? That's what you want. When you have an intern coming in, let them fall in love. The reason, why you do what you do. They felt like really a part of the whole thing. And I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. If you had to pick the front, the desk, or the F&I position, what one would that be?
Man, I'd want to. Oh, see, there we go.
So he won my heart. What can I tell you?
Northwood's phenomenal university. Like I mentioned, we're bringing 27 interns on this year. I'll address really quick with the interns.
Yes,
we
sir.
have rules when it comes to our interns. They're not allowed to get coffee. They are not your porter. They are not a runner for you. They're there to learn, and we end up hiring most of our interns in long term. They sit in on buy-sell meetings. They all sign NDAs. They will sit in on a doc review and a financial audit. They will hear the good, the bad, the ugly, the oh my gosh, but we can't welcome them into a career in the automotive if they're not exposed to that. At that age, they're trying to find out where their career path is going to take them, and it's on our job and a big responsibility to show him and welcome them into the automotive world, but it's not treating them as an intern in the per se of they're just going to do errands and help us and run to the copier and, oh, go pull Mrs. Smith's car around. No, we have porters to do that, and I love my porters. The intern is there to learn, to sit at the desk, to sit in an F&I, to sit on in the service lane and talk to a disgruntled customer about a bad warranty problem or something. We want to expose them to all of that. Our internship program is phenomenal. Big credit to Northwood University, and I'm really excited. They start in like 3 weeks, so we've got interns coming really soon here.
Well, that was super cool. That was a great conversation. And I got to tell you, I was very impressed by it. And it really stood out for me. So we have Andrew again. Wow. The mess going back to the F&I office was literally my last dealership, and the desk wasn't busy either. It was just lazy. So there's a lot of that going on. But at the end of the day, if we can participate, be up at the desk and kind of help them along, right? And help them to, and then sometimes though, I will say that there are times when the desk, sometimes their egos won't allow it, but I'm not feeling that way about your group. I'm thinking that everyone really kind of works together and really wants to do everything they can to promote a deal and maximize the potential, as well as be more efficient and really creating a better customer experience when it's all said and done. And
I'll just address that really quick. That I may be friends with that person. We can go out and have a drink after work. You just can't work on the team. It's that simple. If you want to be lazy and cut corners and not adhere to what we're doing, but also not have that drive and that motivation to push and to excel and to be a better person, you're just not meant for our team. And that's completely fine. That doesn't make them a bad person. They're just not meant for what we're offering at LaFontaine.
I like that. I do. I mean, you're committed to a process. This is how we engage. And you know what? It's not meant for everybody.
Yeah, I'll go play golf with you on the weekend and we can still hang out. Just I'm not going to see you in the four walls of the dealership, and that's completely fine. But we weed that out pretty quickly. I will say our culture we've developed, they sniff that out really early on, and they're saying, "Nope, I got a bad egg here. It's not going to work. I don't need this. It's going to affect the culture," and we just move on. And that's not to be cold-hearted that we don't
some
give
of
them
your managers, your top talent. All right, I'm really going to hit you, but I'm really going to.
Yeah, I'm ready.
What do you think about your top talent who they're just not tech savvy? They're not doing tech. They're just not. They're going to leave it for someone else to do.
You know what? It may seem crazy, and I'm being as honest as possible. It doesn't exist with us. I'll give you an example. Bob Simmons, one of my executive directors, oversees with Ryan LaFontaine 43 dealerships. Yeah. He's been at my company since 1980. He started out as a parts driver. If Bob Simmons can learn at his age now, running 43 stores, what Goo Chat means and what digital retailing is, then anybody can do it. And that's just how we operate. It's just, to us, you don't have the ability to say, I'm not going to try. The good news is I have retail development managers. I have trainers specifically that know technology in and out, and we'll work with you every day. I'll deploy a trainer to a store for 30 days to sit with one person. If that person means that much to me, I'm not going to let you go if you don't know technology. But if you're not willing to challenge yourself and to get uncomfortable, then you're not a fit. But if you're willing to challenge yourself and really try, then I'm going to support you through that journey. And at the end of the day, I don't need my general manager to understand every nuance of the technology.
Yeah, right.
But I need my variable managers to.
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable. I need my general sales manager too.
Yeah.
But I need my GM to have that overlook of the whole store. They need to understand the tool, but I don't expect them to just log into Goo Chat and start responding. Some do, but that's not the requirement. But if you're just saying, nah, tech's not for me, I'm old school, that's fine. You're just not going to work with us. You can say I'm technology challenged. That's fine. Yeah. We will help train you, but you have to show me you're willing to challenge yourself.
I think so. I think that that's important. I mean, I can tell you how many, and again, it just depends on what you allow, right? It really does. I mean, and inspect what you expect. I think that's what you said earlier. What are your
100%.
What are your rules of engagement? What are you allowing? So some of these guys, I mean, they're training. Let's pull out a Foursquare. We're going back to Foursquare. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take pencil and paper in our hand, or marker in our hand, and we're going to go at it. And that's how we're going to do it. And I'm going to train my staff on Foursquare, and that's how we're going to do it. And it's like, okay, well, who's closing these deals when it's all said and done, when the customer truly doesn't understand what they're paying for? So there's a lot to be said.
And I have bad CSI, a bad review, and I lost the guest, and I have zero retention.
Amen. Amen. And some of these guys are still out there. Okay. So Andrew, every dealer should be like this. Systems and processes help maximize the customer experience and increase. Amen. It just does. Yep. It really, really does. It makes a huge difference. Corey, agree, Andrew. And I think I didn't mean to do this. I'm so sorry. Your why buy at the dealership should be the same as why work here.
Well, I completely agree, because part of what we talk about in the sales process is talking about why you love working for here. Let's talk about our community or philanthropic involvement that we do in the community. Let's talk about the work-life balance. Let's talk about how you bought your first house maybe after you started working for us. Let's connect with the guest at the end of the day, because if my salesperson or manager or any customer-facing role loves where they work, I can't teach that or train that or fake that. The guest can honestly feel that. If I'm smiling and excited and all about it, you can fake it to a degree, but a smart guest is going to figure it out throughout the process and realize that you're just a number to them. And then it just becomes a transaction. So we talk a lot about some of the benefits at some of our dealerships. We have 4 LEED certified dealerships. I'm one of the only dealership groups in the United States that have 2 gold LEED certified dealerships. Spent millions of additional dollars to get a beautiful little star on the front of the dealership, but it uses geothermal heating and water conservation and solar panels and some unique stuff. Maybe that's a value add. Maybe at my Subaru store, I need to be talking about the dog park that's a half a mile down the road that we built and sponsored, because Subaru guests love their animals, right? So it's combining the two together and making the experience seem real to the guest, but not faking it.
Okay, so I have Corey here. Do you think dealer groups would benefit from an ex-OEM guy coming on board? If you were an ex-OEM and wanted to go retail and move through the chairs to learn the ropes, so you know where your bodies got buried, you could shoot to become a platform GM or similar. What path would you recommend? What should be avoided? Good question there, Corey. Good question.
No, I love it. Thank you, Corey, for the question, and love all the questions coming in. I would say that the most important role on the front end of a dealership to understand is used cars. If you want to grow your career at a dealership, be willing to go sit down at the used car tower. And regardless of your OEM position prior, whatever amazing rank or designation you had, start as a used car manager because everything runs through used cars too, touches every department, parts, service, F&I, recon, all of that. I'd learn how to be a really good used car manager, and that skill set will propel you to the top. Some of my best performing stores, general managers, started out as well and went through the ranks of being a used car manager. What hasn't worked well, I would say, is just starting out. Let's say you're in a finance role at an automaker and you're like, I'm going to go right into F&I. I believe you need to go back to the desk first and start there and then move into the F&I. Because if you just start there, you don't understand the customer journey before they walked into your office. You need to understand what's happening before you meet that guest, the value of coming out of your office and greeting the guest well prior before they go in and you start talking about the products that are going to protect their investment. Used car managers to us and at our group is the lifeblood, because when you also have a great used car manager, you can withstand some industry storms. Because last time I checked, dealers don't produce cars or arguably set the pricing on vehicles. I can't control if new cars are hitting the lot. If an OEM decides for an awesome incentive program this month, I'm at the whim of the automaker. Used cars, though, I can really control that. And it is the number one most important thing that can feed a dealership.
Used cars, that's my dad. My dad he was the most talented when it come to a used car. I mean, he owned that deal. He really was. He was very, very talented. So I respect that. You got an interesting question here. Your group utilized digital retailing.
Love
Are you
it.
good at it?
Digital retailing. You know what? So we were an early adopter into digital retailing. And I
Okay.
would tell you that I probably scared 70% of my variable staff on, we lost control. The guest is going to be able to do everything on their own. Oh, we can't control the process. Okay, let's just watch the data talk really quick. I have stores right now that sell cars online overnight. And in the next morning, the car's already sold. Or I can track the guest through that journey, though, and I see that Becky made it all the way to a down payment and valuing her trade, and then you backed out. You just left.
Yeah.
Well, now I at least know where you got through the journey. I think we have to embrace technology. I don't think digital retailing is replacing bodies by any means. It's not a fear that we can get better with tools and have less staff. Not for this conversation, but I think you need to challenge yourselves and all those fears that they had about losing control and, oh my gosh, the guest can see everything. That's great. Because at this point, if you're not getting good at digital retailing to the guest, I would argue that it appears you're hiding something.
So let me
Why
ask you
can't
this.
I go on?
Are you guys, I mean, because I think that's almost an anomaly. I met Brian Kramer. Brian, you probably know him. You know everyone.
Yep.
He is the savant too when it comes to digital retailing at Germain and during COVID. And he was able to utilize the right tools, the technology to embrace it. Not only from the time the customer touched down on the dealership website, but pick up where the customer left off when they got into the dealership. I mean, he really worked with the technology pieces to really embrace and to determine which one was better at what. And then from there, digitalizing the entire workflow, even to the time where everything was done in F&I through, meet and greet through Darwin and e-contracting. There was no paper, nothing that touched the floor. That is a tough pill for many dealers across the country. How far
we got really uncomfortable.
Get to?
I mean, I would just, it's funny. I'm smiling thinking of this. So my owner, we laugh often. He doesn't just dip his toes in the water. If Ryan LaFontaine commits, we're going to do something. We've committed and we're going to go all in. So we're not dipping our toes in the water with digital retailing and just having it on the website and just to be there. Our teams understand it. They know how it works. They talk to the guest about it. If you're unsure on pricing or you want to look at options, on my website right now, 11,000 cars, go in, play with numbers, change down payments, look at financing options, go through the journey, add product, take product away, learn about product. The guest is going to go find this information out one way or another. They might as well
Amen.
just find it on your website. And
Right.
so this losing control, I think, was just this big myth that it was just people had a fear of getting uncomfortable. If anything, I would say good dealers are really adaptable through a lot of crazy times. '08 recession, brands going under, COVID, world upended. If you're not on the cutting edge and pushing and like to get uncomfortable, I don't see how that dealer group sustains 5 years from now, because I think we're going to continue to evolve in how we operate our day to day. And it's about getting uncomfortable, but embracing that and figuring out how we can grow with this.
So let me ask you this: AI. AI is and you mentioned, I don't know. I know when we
Stella.
talked Stella, um,
Yep.
right? And you've
Yep.
had some experience with that. And tonight we talked about that. Okay. So how do you see AI helping to keep to be more efficient in your everyday business operations?
I mean, we just launched a training class across our sales staff about how to use Chat GPT and how that can benefit you.
See?
Put in objections. My customer has an objection to this vehicle. How do I overcome that?
That's right.
My guest is comparing a Subaru Ascent to a Kia Telluride. How do I sell them on the Telluride? My guest doesn't want to give me the number they want on their trade. How do I overcome that? Those
Mm,
are basic generalities. We taught them. We showed them. Use it as a resource.
that's
Maybe
right.
a seasoned professional says, I got it. I don't need all that. But to my 21-year-old brand new salesperson that this is the Wild West and they're just eager to learn and want to sell cars and get their name up on the board, use this to your advantage. It's a free tool. It's
Hey,
a free
I don't
tool
care.
that
I
they
don't
have.
care if you're a veteran or not. It just it helps to go ahead and give you the information earlier on. I mean,
Yep.
without right, because sometimes you make mistakes. I mean, yeah, I can go ahead and I can vet into that and find out exactly the information I need to be able to compete, with the customer. So dealers that
And then
aren't
I'll tell you real quick on AI too. So I
okay,
also, great vendor of ours is Reputation. Reputation works with all 43 of our dealerships on our customer experience and all of our reviews and feedback. So I use AI through there as well too, to be able to help me analyze 15,000 reviews that come through that. As much as I try to read a lot of them, I can't read every one. So, okay, let me analyze the negative reviews at this store over the last 60 days. Is there a commonality, a thread?
mhm.
What can we work at? Like, I'll tell you right now, if my car wash goes down at my Cadillac store, if we don't proactively go out and find a car wash locally to wash your car, I will guarantee you will start to get negative reviews. 100%. We may have white gloved every experience, but we were unable to wash the car for the guests. And we may tell them, so sorry, Becky, the car wash just broke, the pipe froze, we're in Michigan, whatever. They're not happy with that experience. But I can use AI to see, okay, what were some gaps? What are opportunities of coachable moments? So I can use my time better of not reading 15,000 reviews, right? How do I work more efficiently, to your point, but embrace the technology? And I would say we're just ready to dive more into AI, and it's really evolving really quickly. We feel like we have a really good technology partner in Stella AI, starting with that receptionist experience
Mhm.
that we've worked with them on. But we plan on scaling AI across other business units and facets as well, too, to make us more efficient, save time, and allow us to have more FaceTime or conversations with the guest when warranted, and cut down on maybe some of the miscellaneous work.
So the dealers that aren't following suit, what do you say? What do you say to them? Are they going to be missing market share? Because you're like loving every minute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound, this will sound like a pretty bullish statement, but we'll probably end up acquiring you. I mean, honestly, if you're not moving the business forward, then I don't know what to tell you. And it's again, sometimes an older dealer operator that doesn't have a succession plan, that doesn't know what they wanted to do to the business, but also doesn't feel like they want to invest money to grow the business. I will tell you, out of the acquisitions, we buy broken stores, no doubt about it. Broken stores, though, with great people that maybe just needed a cast influx of a new building, new technology, a clean shop in the back for the technicians, an updated room, imaging, but also more competitive pay plans, more competitive long-term value opportunity, right? If you're not really continuing to evolve and adapt and to invest back into the business to grow, good news for us, I guess, at our side, because we'll just keep growing, right? And that's more market share because we're not letting off the gas. I plan on retiring from this company one day. My CEO is 47 years old, works 7 days a week with us in the stores. He is aggressive. He is thoughtful, and we have a mission to continue to grow. And the more dealers that aren't challenging us every day, more opportunity for us. But I would encourage them to pick up their game, because competition is good, though, too. I don't need a bunch of sleepy dealers around me every day carrying on the persona of what people think of a dealership, right? On all the negatives that come with that. They're only just perpetuating that persona. They're not helping the industry at the end of the day. They may be helping my sales and my bottom line, but they're not helping the industry as a whole. And I feel like we have a responsibility to move the industry forward and to look past and to move on from things that people have pigeonholed us in the past of what a dealership is.
Well, I quite get that. So I've had some interesting comments on a few posts that I put out on LinkedIn recently. And one comment was, we were talking about the interview process, and they were talking about how foolish that was. I mean, that's just a dumb process. There's no reason for it. But he went on to say, but instead, F&I people just still like the box close. And I'm like, well, pick your poison, buddy. Let me tell you, because I've been there too.
Yep. Nope. I hear you.
You with me on that one?
100%.
So it's just good. I'm like, I'm going to have fun with this one. Mike, how do you generate new sales opportunity from your service department? Good question, Mike.
Yeah, so we have a lane acquisition manager that's devoted to meeting the guests in the lane. So every car that can come through the lane when we want it, we just put a nonchalant, just with your receipt when you leave, and appraisal value on the car and introduce ourselves to you. Constantly looking at mining lost service opportunities where somebody declined service work because the cost was too much. Well, versus putting money into maybe a problem vehicle, how do we address that and be proactive with that? So we also have our managers attend service meetings. Again, back to my earlier comment, we're trying to look at this holistically and as a one team approach, and it's introducing. So we laugh a lot, right? Everybody talks about sales should be introducing their customer to service before they walk out. Becky, let me walk you over to meet Max in the service lane. He's there. But I probably on any given day am seeing 5 to 10 times more guests in my service lane than I am in my showroom. So why isn't the service advisor walking a guest out and introducing them to a variable manager? Let's flip the script on that. Everybody talks about how sales needs to introduce them to service. Why can't service introduce them to sales? Amen. So I'll look at it this way. We sold as a group roughly 64,000 vehicles last year, but we did 440,000 repair orders as an organization. My opportunity is in the service lane of taking care of those guests.
Yes.
And introducing them to somebody. And especially our favorite, guest pulls in a vehicle that doesn't have a LaFontaine plate frame. Let's go.
So you do anything with any kind of, I guess, mining?
Oh, yes.
On a continuous
always basis. Data mining, equity mining, drip campaigns.
And trying to determine which customers would be best to get out and offer them the opportunity to get out from under their trade to sell. Are you doing on that regular?
All of
on a
that,
regular basis.
100%. And what really fortunate with is, so we're fortunate in our group, we have an in-house marketing team as well too. So I don't use an outside marketing agency. So my internal it's an internal agency, but they all work for LaFontaine. Their job is to look at all the data, the tools. How do we mine our database? So that was last year. Let's say on rough number, we touched 500,000 guests between sales and service. Okay, so year 2, now I touch 750,000 guests, right? Because some are repeat. How do I use my own data? So we've created, right, a CDP, a data lake that we're monitoring and managing all of the data in the organization. So I don't need to go out and buy lists and buy leads. I have it all. I have all the data I need internally to go out and market to those same guests. Yes, I need to acquire new guests as well too, but we've built up such an infrastructure of customers. I needed to be managing and mining that internal data. That's where the gold is at. It's not going out on a gold digger campaign and trying to get new people to come into the dealership. Look at your own data internal.
Sure.
There's so much power and value in that, but people don't want to spend the time to do that. They would rather just get new leads coming in and check what my appointment looks like. Your own data is so important, especially when you look at a group this size.
A residual is everything, is that repeat customer. My father used to, bang that into my head. I'll never forget,
Yep.
when's the last time you called your customer, Becky?
Yes.
And I won't tell you
And
the analogy he used. I'll tell you that later.
I bet it's the same analogy that Ryan's dad would use. They had a very colorful way of phrasing things. Let's put it that way.
I'm sure. But that's what it's all about, right? In making sure that you're taking care of the customer that's already in service and that customer that you've already sold the car to. Repeat customers is the best business, right?
It is, and it's providing a face behind it. So I want to go back really quick and talk a
Okay.
little bit, because we would not be here today without our CEO, Ryan LaFontaine. So as I mentioned, no office, 4 wheels in a briefcase like me. He will go out on the show floor and up a customer.
I
Hi,
love
I'm
that.
Ryan LaFontaine. Nice to meet you today. He has so much pride in the family name and what we're doing. He is hands-on through and through. So I would say all the talk about employee retention, customer retention, you name it. At the end of the day, if you don't have an active and engaged owner, that's where it really and truly starts.
Yes.
My owner is so engaged. 6:30 a.m. technician meetings, Ryan LaFontaine will be there. We're looking to hire a new salesperson at 8 o'clock at night. He'll be at that interview. He probably interviews 95% of all managers joining our company.
Wow.
It
Wow.
is that commitment
Wow, that's impressive. That's unheard
we
of.
tell you, would love to screen share here and show you what his daily calendar looks like. It's unbelievable, but he is willing to take the time and effort to be part of the business. He doesn't sit in a country club or out on a boat or at a vacation house. I'm going to tell you that Ryan LaFontaine is in our stores every single day. He hosts one-on-one technician meetings without the service manager. I want to hear exactly from you guys. What are you doing? We've launched some things in the last couple years that have totally put us on the long-term trajectory for employee growth and retention. I'll speak really quickly in the service lane side of things briefly. We pay our technicians time and a half for warranty work. Most technicians hate warranty work. The automaker says, Becky, you have to do this in 4 hours. That's all you're getting paid for. Well, what happens if it took 5.5?
That's right.
They lose that hour and a half, but we pay time and a half. And that half a time costs us, a rough number, $14 million last year as an additional expense to our bottom line. But we have happy technicians. We allow our technicians to work 4-day work weeks. They can opt in and out of a 4-day work week with a 30-day notice. We're in Michigan, a lot of hunters here in Michigan. Come fall time, technicians are saying 4-day work week, 4-day work week, summer season, or maybe they're snowmobilers. We look at that opportunity. But on the sales side too, right? We develop some things of Ryan meeting one-on-one with our sales staff. Our sales plans, I believe, and I would argue anybody, I believe, are the most competitive in the United States. we pay up to 30% on the front end and 30% on the back end. I'll say it again. Up to 30% on the front end and 30% on the back end.
I guess I'm just going to have to come and work for you. That's all I can tell you. I mean, 30, can you
all
imagine that, Andrew?
That's true. Now it starts at 20. So 20 is the baseline. Every salesperson, 20% on the front end, 20% on the back end. And then there's volume kickers to get up to the 30%.
No, I think that's terrific. So, since you put that out there almost in a, don't get me started, Max. I was really going to try to behave myself here. If there's a possibility. But, with your sales department, do you allow them to understand product? Like F&I product, like, what a service
we do
contract
lunch and learns.
is.
Well, they're getting paid on that product, so
Right.
they should understand that product.
See, I hope other folks are listening in. I got into a huge debate on this one, and it was like, Becky, sales folks have no business to know what those products are. They, the more you try to educate them, the more trouble you get yourself into, the more that they cost you business. I don't believe in that. I always thought, working with the, in my time with the AutoNation stores and working with sales folks, realizing the more information I train you, have a good understanding, the more support that we get. What's the
how do I find a new F&I manager? I should be recruiting them off of my sales floor.
Right?
We like to promote within. If they don't understand what that next step in their journey should be and understand it, and I'll go back to, they're getting paid on that product, so it would be who of them to understand. And guess, they're not an F&I expert. I get it. They're a salesperson that hopefully maybe one day wants to grow to be an F&I, but they need to understand the foundation enough to be able to plant the seeds with that customer. If their trade-in has a broken windshield, I probably want to be talking to you already about a windshield protection program. Last time I checked, Michigan roads are not that nice.
No, they're
we have
not.
a lot of potholes here. So wheel and tire stuff. We should be already planting the seeds for F&I. And at the end of the day, if F&I has a great experience and we protect the guest with all this amazing product that they're safe and protected with, the salesperson is reaping the benefit of it.
Amen.
So I don't see a void or a gap. We are not only a transparent company outward to our guests, a very transparent company inward with our employees. They need to understand how all these business departments and functions work. If not, you're just in silos and you don't care about what's happening over there, nor have an understanding. If Ryan LaFontaine has a non-negotiable that says, Becky, you need to do this, hopefully you'll do it because Ryan LaFontaine asked and he's the CEO of the company. But if you understand why he asked that one action he's asking you to do impacts this department, and this follow-up with the guest, now you're like, I get it. Now I understand the why.
Well, I think it's important to have an understanding of why we do what we do, right? I think that that's a critical component to all of it, because some of the folks you're bringing in from other stores, I mean, they don't have the reason why they do what they do. I mean, they just do. There's no rhyme or reason for anything. So you have to really embrace that, or have them embrace the reasons why you do what you do. And
I will tell you, most of my new hire sales, really quick, come from the hospitality business.
I love
that. Those are actually my best hires. They're not a salesperson that's like, I've worked here and here and here and here before. Not that. I honestly would rather a fresh person that I met at the coffee shop that gave me a great experience and teach them how to sell cars, because they already won. They already know guest engagement. It's thinking that far out of the box of how you want to grow your workforce.
Couple more comments. I'm not sure if everyone's here or not, but I just want to blow through some of them. Every dealer should be like, yes, definitely. Systems and processes help maximize the customer experience and increase revenue. And that's why Andrew is as good as he is. He follows process. He sticks to
Come on up to
it.
Michigan, Andrew.
I mean, to tell you, you wouldn't know what you're getting yourself into. He's Superman. Agree, Andrew. And then Mike Moran, do you TO every sales opportunity that leaves the showroom?
Man, if I have to answer truthfully, the answer is no, right? When you say every, no. But I'm inspecting that because I expect every guest that's leaving the sales showroom to have a TO. But it does not happen every single time. But it's something that we coach, we teach, we talk about, we inspect, right? There's a log that we do of just that. So we can track back and see, have we given every opportunity to try to deliver what that guest was looking for? Maybe it was a different maker model. Not to go off on this really quick, but we allow our sales team to cross-sell between brands. So we have an internal dealership function that we call our cross-store team. We have specialists on there that are OEM certified for the various brands we represent. But Becky, you're at the Chevrolet store. You had a guest come in that wanted to also test drive an F-150 and a Ram. You reach out to my cross-store team. After you've come back from the test drive, you've got a quote on the Ram from my Ram store. You've got a quote on the F-150. And if they trusted you as the salesperson, you can take them to that other dealership. And by the way, you make a full commission on the deal, Becky, and the salesperson that actually finished the deal because they need to be OEM certified also makes a full commission. So I pay out a double commission on the day at the end of the day, but I kept the guest. My CEO says often, I don't care what car the guest leaves in, as long as it leaves in a LaFontaine plate frame. So to Mike's comment, yes, I should be TOing the guest every single time and seeing out why they're leaving. And if they're shopping another brand, 99% of the time, we have that brand within the group. The guest may not just know that based on 43 stores spread all across the state of Michigan.
Okay. So we have great company. Curious, do you have a military hiring program?
We do. We have an internal recruiting and hiring team. We've gone down as far as to Texas, to military bases, to recruit veterans right out of there into service and sales. Phenomenal. Probably it's come out a lot through my comments that we're a pretty process-oriented organization. So 100%, somebody with a military background tends to fit very well in our organization. We're all about teamwork, camaraderie. We actually have a funny saying about calling it the foxhole, right? Who do you want in the foxhole with you? To your left and your right, people you trust. 100%, Gene, has been a huge opportunity for us to provide veterans a outstanding career opportunity after they've served our nation.
Okay. Corey, beyond Stella, how are you using AI or looking at it? What next? I think we kind of talked through that a bit already. A customer drives in for service work, but declines the work needed and leaves. How do you handle a service decline customer?
Service managers calling them that day or the next day, 100%.
Okay.
And asking why and addressing, seeing what we can do and working through that. Again, with as many repair service customers we have to mine and look at every opportunity.
Going through some of these, he's astute. I'm thinking you. Michael Baker. He really is. I mean, this is quite the group right here. This is good. This is why they are who they are. This is why they're so successful. This is hopefully bringing out some of the best. And if you could take some of that secret sauce and duplicate some of it, right, and really be able to embrace what he's talking about, it can make up a big difference. I don't like to do things the hard way if I can help it, right? So I was like, I've always been one to read a book. Like, and if I can copy some of it, I'm going to and apply it, right? I try to
100%
learn the right way.
I mean,
or
here's a funny thing, Becky, on that note, really quick. Some of our interns coming in this year, their parents own dealerships. You may be
See?
asking, why would I allow their child to be an intern at my company and see all the secret sauce? Because at the end of the day, you can't replicate culture. It's something that is developed over time and nurtured.
That's right.
No tool is given our success. It boils down to the leadership, the team, and the culture we've developed. So come in, learn everything we do, and take that back to your parents' dealership. Grow and prosper, and we love it. So we bring dealers in. We walk dealers through the dealership. We'll show you certain things. We'll talk about it. But I'm confident enough you can't just replicate what you're doing, because none of this was built on a tool or even a process. It's the culture that we have within our organization, and a big credit to the LaFontaine family for nurturing that over the last nearly 45 years.
Well, yeah, right. They are who. Well, they implant who they are, right, within the dealership. And I can tell you how often going in and doing in dealership training, right, and meeting up with the dealer. There were times dealer's right on. He's right there. They're hands on. Then it's like, or other times I'm like, what happened to the dealer? Why am I here by myself? What do you mean you're at the golf course? You need to be here with me.
Yes.
And that makes all the difference. That makes all the difference. It's not.
You don't think my technicians get
Sure
fired
you
up when they see Ryan LaFontaine at their 6:30 a.m. technician meeting, high-fiving them, giving them the hurrah and let's go and talk about the day? They're empowered. We have a rule, too, on our corporate team. When we travel to stores, we're not allowed to walk in the front door. We're not. Have to walk through the back of shop first. Say hello to the porters, the technicians, the people that you would normally say that the corporate team wouldn't just go talk to the technician. We start at the back of the dealership and work our way to the front when we go there. We're not allowed to walk in the front door.
See, that's pretty interesting. And I know better. I think about it. I know better. I've been trained better to come in through the service and saying hello to service. I remember my father, he was talking about that, some of these guys, it's, just recognize these guys, right? And
Ryan's mom, that was one of our dealer principals, unfortunately, she passed away in 2019. Her office was not on the sales floor. Her office connected to the service lane with all windows, because she knew that was where the focus needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. We forget about that. We do. I forget about that. I know better. Go walk through the tree.
Sales
Walk,
gets all the glitz
service.
and the awards and the trophies and the polished marble floors and all the fun stuff. And service can be just service, but that is the lifeblood of the dealership.
Amen. It really is. Hey, Baker. Okay, he's saying hi. He agrees. Okay, so we have that's just okay. Test line. I don't know. What next in application do you hope in using or gaining in the use of AI? Anything more that you feel like AI is really going to make a difference?
I mean, we're embracing the technology. We're not running scared from it. So we have a team that's currently analyzing. I have a technology and tools team that's at our company that tests and pilots and looks at technologies in a white space to see if they can fit. So I think we're exploring. We're early on. But like I mentioned, we've already adopted sales training around ChatGPT and how our sales team and service team can use a tool to help them overcome objections or respond better to a customer.
Okay. How do you follow up in service lane of recommended services by you? Not so. Okay, we did that one already. How many service customers purchased from you versus how many purchased from your competition?
Man, Mike, I thought I came prepared tonight. I do not have that answer, and I really
Hard. I thought you were saying yay.
No, I wish that I do not have that stat for you. How many service customer purchase for Uber? That's a good one. I can 100% follow up with Becky on that one and get you an answer. Great question. But man, threw that one out there in the 11th hour on me, and I thought I was doing really good on this so far, and I don't have that answer. I apologize, Mike.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're killing it. You're doing amazing. I thought, hey, I'm going to keep things a little bit easy, but no, not you.
But I guess, Mike, really quick, if you broke that down, if I sold 64,000 vehicles last year and I had 440,000 repair orders, I'm servicing far more guests than I sold in that given year, right? So I think it is attracting. And when I talked about pickup and delivery for oil changes, free loaner vehicles when available, we have a collision center. We have 8 body shops, right? So I would say I'm touching far more service customers, and I have 8 collision centers. Most dealers don't like collision centers. They don't have body shops. We could spend a whole day talking about how critical component that is to the group, but I'm attracting more in on the service side 100%.
Okay.
And I see too. Oh, go ahead.
Humbly, it was my protocol to have every delivery of new or pre-owned in line to franchise pre-owned introduced to a service advisor for retention loyalty with his or her service advisor.
Love it.
I'm not sure if it was my protocol to have every delivery of new or pre-owned in line to franchised pre-owned introduced to a service advisor for retention with his or her service advisor. Maybe what I get really.
And I think what I was talking about earlier, so versus having it be on sales to introduce to service, I flipped the script. Service needs to be introducing them to sales as well, too.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Great CEO.
That's an understatement, Mr. Baker. He is one of a kind. So truly blessed to work for him and the family as well, too. It's fired up every single day.
Michael Baker is he's been in automotive retail for many, many years. Very talented, too. Mike Moran, also previous dealer. What is your new CAC versus repeat CAC?
Mike, is that the second? Mike's trying to punk me on this podcast today. Then that's another one. My apologies, Mike.
He's Mr. Thank You Video. Yeah. He's someone to know. He has had Thank You Video for many, many years, and also in automotive retail as well as health and real estate, I believe. You two might want to get to know one another. It's very interesting.
Do it. I'm at NADA every year, so drop me a line.
Definitely. You need to hang up. Corey, awesome. Thank you. Very impressive CEO engagement. Understand, as did myself, humbly, GM CEO engagement is essential. And he has done it himself. He's he's good.
And I'll add to that too, really quick. My GM, they need to be 70% dealing with my fixed ops team. That's why I have a GSM. They can deal with the variable team. My GM needs to spend more time in service than they do with the variable team.
Do you see that happening though for many of the other franchise stores? I don't see that at all.
That's an anomaly because they're uncomfortable. They didn't grow up in service. They can't wrench it. And I don't expect my GMs to go out and do an oil change or to do an alignment. Some can, they don't need to, but they need to understand all the facets of that business more so than the variable side. Because as I mentioned earlier, used car service and parts are the 3 main components of the health of a dealership. I cannot rely on new cars. It is the cherry on the top at the end of the day because I'm at the whim of manufacturer production, incentives, you name it. More time needs to be spent in the service lane than in the new variable side for my general managers.
Like to see it. The only reason why I say that, sometimes our GMs are responsible for the financials, right? And really kind of the money. And I get all that. But sometimes they don't really see the forest through the trees sometimes. Like, for example, I can have conversations and I would say and ask, if you had to go ahead and put a number on subprime deals, how many, I'm just for an example, what would that percentage be? Beck, we hardly have any subprime deals. So I go back in F&I and like, Becky, I don't know where you got that number on, but we have our fair share of subprime deals. So that's a problem to me. So what do you say to those GMs who I mean, I understand their focus point, but how can we get them more rounded? How should they get themselves more rounded?
They have to be willing to get uncomfortable
Yeah.
and ask questions. Just because they're their general manager doesn't mean that they can't tell their service manager, I don't know what this is or what this means. Ask the question. Be vulnerable. That's the only way they can
Be
grow.
vulnerable. Get
Simple as
out
the
get
I can
out of
put
your
it.
office. I have actually
Yeah.
seen GMs stay in their office. I'm like, "Are you ever getting out?" Is that
So in any of our new dealership builds, it's a
Yeah.
sales tower. Is not the
There's
GM is not
no
getting an
there's no
office.
there's no GM office.
There there is per se, so like when we need to have meetings and stuff, but their job is not to be in an office. They
Really?
need to sit at the tower or sit in the service lane.
Your
They need to be
GMs.
where the guest is. 100%.
I
Come
love
to one of
that.
my
That's the
stores.
first
My
time I've
GM
heard
should
that.
be at the tower in the service lane. Yes, they have a meeting, go to your office.
Yeah.
I get it. You have a personnel issue, you're in your office. You're on a reporting call, a doc review with Ryan LaFontaine, you're in your office.
Right.
If
Right.
you're not doing that, you need to be on the sales floor or in the service lane.
So I guess out of curiosity, since I don't know, I'm just out of curiosity, are you doing a save a deal meeting or make a deal meetings or with your
Yes,
entire team? Is that done on a
100%.
daily basis? How do y'all do that? How do you do that?
Uh, so each store sets their own schedule based on what works for their meeting schedule, but it is a weekly, not a daily. It's at least a multiple times during the week. We're looking at the save the deal to see what opportunity we missed and most likely a coaching moment of how we could have presented something
And that's on a
differently.
regular basis, not just on pick and
No,
choose. Do you
no,
really spend
regular
any time in
basis.
that meeting? Is that something that you really, really put effort in?
Yeah, it's really important. We have to learn how we can get better, right? And what things we could have presented differently, asked a different question, maybe took a little more time to listen to what the customer was saying
Mhm.
versus trying to railroad them into an aged unit that they didn't want and it's red and two-wheel drive and they wanted a black four-wheel drive and we're like, I know, but here it is and let's go, right? And it's really slowing down as I mentioned earlier on. We listen to all of our outbound and inbound phone calls. The store is mandated that they need to be listening to 75% of the phone calls coming in and out of the dealership.
Mm.
Again, back to we have to inspect what we expect in order to grow the
So
business.
they're actually listening and not an AI.
Nope, they are.
They are.
They are listening.
They
They
are
are
listening.
listening.
So let's talk. Let me get through some. We've got a lot of comments here. And did I see that you just picked up a friend, Brandy Gee? Maybe that's somebody else. Sorry. And then the service ops department is usually the best. Michael Baker in dealership profitability.
Has to. We're right now with the talk of what's happening in the industry right now and maybe production slowing down, we have to devote all resources into service. We actually started a campaign reaching out to guests that declined service recently, letting them know we still have that part in stock. It's been unaffected on any pricing changes, and we would love to have you come back in before potentially something changes with our inventory. We also are blessed at our group. We're one of the largest wholesale parts distributors in the Midwest. So I've got 150,000 square feet of wholesale parts. So again, we have scale to, in a short window, sustain this much better than a small single point, multi-point dealership. So I have parts to sustain that. We serve over 3,000 customers in the Midwest just on parts deliveries alone. And
Damn.
the best part is to go to my PDC in the morning and watch all of my competitor dealership parts vans waiting in line to pick up their parts for the day. Great.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff that makes a difference. That makes a big difference. So, what do you think, employee retention? And I just want to hit on that just a bit before we close tonight. I want to talk about your employees really like working for you guys. I mean, they really enjoy it. And you have little to no turnover in your stores. Is that because they have a roadmap to success? Is it because of the training that you provide, the support that you provide? They have an understanding of the direction of an expectation.
I would say it's yes to all of that, right? So I have a roadmap for success, a roadmap to grow. I mentioned I have general managers that started out as porters in my company. My executive director, Bob Simmons, started out as a parts driver in
Right.
1980.
Wow.
My director of parts started out at the counter 21 years ago. We love promoting within, but that's not to say that if you love sales, sometimes you don't want to become a manager, because let's be honest, a lot of managers, you end up being therapists as well too, because you have to manage people. For a salesperson, they can just maintain committed to what their lane is and what they're doing, but we give them a roadmap. We have a technician apprenticeship program that I can bring you through. After 18 months, you are certified. I give you a $10,000 toolkit as a gift. I paid the mentor in my service shop that was your mentor over the last 18 months, $10,000 for giving his time and energy out to you. It's all about showing them the opportunity for growth. And like I mentioned, our CEO, we can't continue to buy stores if we don't have an on-deck circle ready to grow with us. And I want to make sure when I say that, it's not like we go in and just gut a new dealership. I want to retain as many of the employees at a new dealership as possible, but I will tell you 9 times out of 10, I am bringing in my own general manager, because I need to bring somebody that understands the culture and can teach that and train that and then understands the expectations. That may mean that the GM of that dealership may have to take a step down, might have to be the general sales manager, might have to go back and be a used car manager at another store. Maybe they go back to the box, but they also have to be open to challenging themselves and looking at a bigger opportunity of what this group can provide far beyond maybe what their single point dealership provided them.
Oh, I bet that there's a big learning curve when it comes to,
Yes.
your environment versus the one that they were in, because obviously the one that they were in didn't cut it. And that's the
But
reason why
that's
they
not to
felt.
say that they were a bad employee, though. They just
Yeah, that's
not
right.
been given the training or the technology or the support to do what they wanted to do. Maybe they
I
had
get
an
that.
absentee owner that they've been saying for the last 6 months, this tool's broken, our car wash is out, the lights aren't working in the shop. If they're not involved in the day-to-day business, they don't have a pulse on what's actually happening.
I think we need to have more of you back on these podcasts. I really do. I think dealers need to hear more about this. They need to be and hear it, feel it, see it, and understand. If you allow bad habits to occur, bad stuff happens. If you decide to rein it in and hold your folks accountable, good things happen. The
And
impact.
accountability isn't a bad word. Like, that's not, accountability isn't micromanaging. Accountability isn't acting like a dictator that it's my way or the highway. I'll go back to Ryan says often, I'm not the smartest person in the room right now, but that's why I have all of you in the room together so that we can find the answer. I
Yeah.
think it's being open to asking all the questions,
And
being vulnerable. I keep going back to that. If you
that is
don't
the
understand, ask.
vulnerable is it. It's where some of the guys, some of the gals even, hey, and you feel like you're almost embarrassed because you don't know something, right? And that's okay. That's okay. And I think that that's where, again, we need to understand that. And I used to say that all the time, no question's a bad question. It's not. And I often, there are times, hey, I don't know something. I'm going to ask. I'm just going to ask. I don't know.
Completely okay.
Are you okay there?
Yeah. Went down the wrong pipe there for a second, but I'm back in business now.
You're awesome. You're doing
That
great.
failed last
You
sip of
really
water.
are. You're doing marvelous. Andrew understands the sales to service engagement. Okay, these guys are talking between themselves. Military personnel are very organized. Oh, they are. They are the
Amen to
best for
that.
hire. This was great. Got to jump. Thanks to you both. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you being on tonight. Really do appreciate your feedback. Yeah, yes, the service department is essential. And then Mike, does the LaFontaine have that's a good one too, Business Development Center?
Yep. So we have internal BDC. We don't, it's not offsite, it's internal, both for sales and service BDC. And we also love to promote out of our BDC onto the sales floor, because the BDC is calling guests all day, every day. They're cultivating for business. That drive I want on my sales floor, we love to promote out of our internal BDC.
Cool. Michael Baker, what's your retention after the sale of a new and pre-owned for customer pay retention? Andrew, agree, service lane is essential. What is your retention after the sale of a new and pre-owned vehicle? What do you think it is?
Great question.
75?
I don't have it.
Yeah.
It has to be really strong, just based on the repeat business that we continue to get back. When we watch our guests and we know that they're on their third, their fourth, their fifth vehicle from us, right? I know that the process is working. And when I can offer 8 collision centers, wholesale parts opportunity, pickup and delivery for service, I don't know another dealer that's going to drive 2 hours for an oil change.
Yeah.
But that allowed me to go sell a Cadillac or a Lincoln or a Genesis in a market that guest was probably not coming to me originally, but I'm going to go to them because I'm not willing to lose the guest for the long-term value. So I will lose money on an oil change to win the guest over.
To win the individual back. CAC, customer acquisition cost. Yes.
I wish I had Carlos Mojica as our director of retail development. He is the
next time we gotta
retaining and driving. Yeah, we'll get Carlos on this next time. Mike, you and Carlos would be awesome together. I need to phone a friend right now.
I'm like, these are some good questions, right?
No, I love it.
I told you they would come in. These guys are great. They're automotive savants here. I got to tell you, they really know their stuff. And so do you, Mike. Fantastic show and a great guest, Becky. Yay. I told you this was sweet.
Great work, Becky.
I knew that this would be, I've been working on Max for a bit, but, and he's such a busy person. And like I said, for you to come on this podcast meant everything to me. And I know how busy you must be. And I'm thinking, boy, did I hit the pot of gold here with getting Max on this podcast. I'm taking it.
Oh, it was awesome. Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
You'll owe my daughters. I think I missed story time tonight with my little ones, but
and you have 2 beautiful children. Before we close tonight, I want to talk to you, if you wouldn't mind, share with everyone about, Ryan went through cancer several years ago, and from that, he now has a charity. Could you kind of talk a little bit through that? Because I thought that was pretty.
Oh, I'd love that. Thanks, Becky. It means a lot to Ryan. Yeah. So Ryan LaFontaine had cancer back in 2008, in probably the worst time ever, because we thought we were losing the family business, global recession. We're losing brands. And oh, by the way, you have cancer. So he got diagnosed with cancer at 31 years old, successfully battled through Hodgkin's lymphoma, came out better on the other side. He will tell you it totally reshaped his outlook on prioritizing his life. He was a workaholic. I would argue he still works a lot. But up to he was laminating blueprints of dealership builds in the shower, that type of obsession of the dealership, the health. Again, a horrible time in 2008, a lot of factors going against us. But fast forward then in 2016, alongside his sister, Kelly LaFontaine, who's our vice president, also oversees all of our community and philanthropic involvement. They founded You Can Survive together. So You Can Survive is a nonprofit based here in Michigan. I'm blessed to be on the board for You Can Survive with Kelly and Ryan and a very group of passionate individuals. But since 2016, we've raised over $6 million for cancer research, all here in the state of Michigan. Every dollar raised goes back to research grants. Very smart, amazing individuals with way brighter minds than me that God gifted them with, looking for a cure to cancer, and very blessed for that.
Well, I gotta say, I'm gonna participate, and if I would have thought through this, I would have went ahead and put a link to that. But I'll tell you what I will do. You can give me some information, and what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to edit the video with the link available for those folks that would like to go ahead and
That would be awesome.
be able to um, um, donate to the charity. And I would love
No,
the
this has been
opportunity to
great.
do that. That'd be great.
Thanks for closing with that, Becky, too. That meant a lot. It's something that's very close to our heart, and we love to give back in the world of cancer. And this has been a blast tonight. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Well, it really has been. And like I said, I'd love to get you back on. I won't be so greedy,
100%.
but maybe you
No,
want to bring on your service director, and we could really go to town with Mike and some of these
I
guys.
love it. That'd be awesome.
Because getting that word out there and dealers hearing it, firsthand
No,
from another dealer, I think that really hits home, right?
and I
I could talk
appreciate
about
your
it till the
audience
cows
was
come home,
very
but it's
engaged
like, what do
tonight.
you know?
So hats off to the audience tonight for some really great questions. Some apologize again, didn't have all the answers, but hope brought enough to the table that some people can take this back and improve their dealerships or come on board to LaFontaine. We're always looking to grow.
Well, I'd like to come and visit.
Deal. We'll make that happen.
I'd like to check you guys out. That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So I'll hit you up for that too.
No.
Thank you guys.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate it.